Okay, we just have a few people on here today. Go ahead and raise your hand and I will call on you. Alexa.
Hi, Kurt. Hope you had a good little break this week. What's been the focus going into the game on Sunday? Obviously, you guys are well familiar with the Sky, but is it kind of almost like a, I don't know, playoff format almost, it feels like, just having played them twice before so recently? And what kind of adjustments are you guys looking to make?
Yeah, it's interesting prep for us, Alexa, because I wasn't there. So, trying to understand, what the game plan is going on you understand how the game went, but not being there, it's hard to understand the in-game adjustments. So it's a uniqueness that when your head coach isn't there. Obviously got back to work and start to prepare, for a really hot team and the most talented offensive team statistically in the league. You have to talk about different looks. You have to talk about different schemes. It's the third game in 4 games against them. So, film, it comes back to them very quickly. You get to watch film on yourself, on what you did well and what you had slippage on what you had hoped to accomplish. So you get good film session. Obviously they're very familiar with them, but you're just trying to be better defensively. And then offensively, our turnovers have been a big story. We had 38 turnovers in the 2 games combined, which led to a lot of points. How can we handle the ball? How can we be more efficient offensively and trying to accomplish things at that end of the court?
And in terms of, I guess, Chicago's hot streak and compared to where they were when they started the season, is it as simple as, well, they added in a healthy Candace Parker and Quigley's healthy and that kind of solves a lot of problems? Or what have you seen from their progression throughout the season that helps explain how they've been so dominant as of late?
Yeah, Candace Parker is an elite facilitator, right? Her and Alyssa Thomas are the best facilitating forwards in the league. It gives you a point forward on the floor. And so you just watched their series back to back with New York and watched how much Candice helped facilitate. So you have one of the elite point guards in the world in Vandersloot running your team. And when she's not running your team, now you have Candace Parker. So you knew going into this season with 2 elite facilitators and then other outstanding players all around the court that they were going to be really good offensively. And you just seen them find their groove. You've seen them find a rhythm with Candace Parker healthy. They're just, you pick your poison. They have a ton of offensive weapons. But again, a lot of it, what you're saying, goes back to Candace Parker is, one of the best facilitating forwards to ever play this game. And, giving them another point forward, giving them another facilitator makes them so dangerous.
Thank you.
Jacqueline?
Hi, Kurt. I have a few questions for you, just kind of going off of what Alexa asked. I know it's hard to tell since you weren't there in person, but just, as you've had time to digest the film and kind of self-scout, what is the consensus of what the team improved on from that first game to the second game against Chicago?
Yeah, the first game we struggled offensively to get post touches, paint touches with the post. But our guards had a terrific night, getting penetration, getting pieces of the paint, and therefore then our guards had a really good first night. You play them again, and you can tell there's more attention on the ball handler. And now we did a much better job. We didn't turn it over as much as post passing, and Dolson got in foul trouble, and you were able to establish Bree Jones. The chess match, the first night, not a great night post passing, not a great night trying to establish touches to our post, but you were pleased with our guard play. And then the roles reversed. They did a better job taking away penetration from our guards, but we did establish the post game. So what does that mean? We got to have a little bit of both. We were good in one area, and neither game were we good in both. So offensively, we've just got to be better. And the 19 turnovers we can't have. We've got to do what we did against Dallas, have a 3 turnover half, get back to that 12 turnover range. Really helps us, because the better offensively you are, the more efficient offensively you are, you keep them out of transition. You keep them out of attacking off of turnovers, which they're electric in transition. They got these wings that can really get out in front, and they have terrific passers. So we've got to put a full game together. That's what Chicago does. They challenge you to put together a full 40 minutes.
And Morgan Tuck, can you talk a little bit about what it was like coaching her while she played in Connecticut, and just, what it's like having her back in this front office role now?
Yeah, ecstatic to have her back. Again, when she announced her retirement, again, our front office was, a little bit in flux. We didn't have our leadership in place. We had a consulting group trying to help us as we were planning, the future for the front office and for the organization. And I immediately, the same day that she announced her retirement, went to our consulting group and said, we need Morgan Tuck in this franchise. And I didn't know exactly how it would be, what role and how she would fit. I knew she didn't want to coach necessarily, but very similar to what I did with the consulting group when Jen Rosati was let go by GW. Again, I immediately got on the phone with our consulting group leadership in Mohican that we needed Morgan Tuck in this franchise. Why? She is absolutely a person you want in your franchise. She was a terrific teammate and a champion at any level. She's won, and her presence in every team at every level has produced champions. And again, working with her, she is just a terrific human. So ecstatic that we have her in the franchise. Really excited. It's not going to happen overnight, but really excited where she'll help take us with our community involvement. And continuing to help on the basketball side with our player development, more off the court, and life after basketball, or resources and opportunities for our players to grow as people and not basketball players. She's really going to impact that area too, helping and assisting Avi Story in that area. So I can't wait long-term wise to see the imprint that she makes and the impact she has on the Sun.
And leadership wise, how have you kind of seen that evolve from her over the last couple of years?
Was always a terrific leader. Doesn't speak to hear herself be spoken. She's really intelligent. She's quiet at times, and doesn't need to be the loud voice in the room, but always led by example, has played through injuries, has fought back through injuries, always had ourselves prepared, which is a big pillar of mine. Preparation, attitude, effort are the other 2 big pillars in my coaching tenure. And she, defines those 3 pillars: always prepared, always a great attitude, always gave great effort. Her perseverance, she's learned through hardships. She's fought back through knee injuries at multiple levels to be a champion. She continued to do that as a pro. And so just, she's the epitome of a champion. She's epitome of a leader. And she's someone you wanted in your organization. And I'm glad the Mohican leadership and our consulting group, believed me and trusted me that Morgan Tuck is someone we needed.
And JJ, playing in Eurobasket right now, just curious, have you been able to kind of keep up with her performances there and how she's been doing? And do you think, even though it's kind of hurt not having her on the team for a couple of weeks, do you think that will kind of play an advantage of getting her back in the mix eventually?
we want her back, Jacqueline. We want her back. Obviously, one more game on Saturday, helps educate our fan base. If like they saw her lose in the quarterfinals, so people probably immediately thought she was on a plane, but she has another game, and her next game is on Saturday, and it's a qualifying game. So it's huge for Bosnia. It is a huge opportunity for them. So we're anxious to get her home after that Saturday game and to get her back into the mix. And, to believe that we can just pick up right where we left off and have the exact same chemistry, the exact same productivity, is unrealistic, but we'll get her back into the fold. She's so talented, such a team player, was having an MVP type of season, but we got to get her back in and integrated back into the team as soon as possible. And we have big games upcoming. There's not going to be a lot of turnaround. It's international travel's no joke. Eventually she's going to get back from a 9 or 10 hour flight. And we're going to quickly want to get her into protocols and up to speed. But, we understand that she's going to be exhausted and tired. And so we've got to be smart. This is a long season, but we can't wait to get her back. But for our fan base, for our, people out there that don't know, despite the loss in the quarterfinals, she plays in a very important qualifying game on Saturday.
And last question for you, Coach. Do you know when that game, when she'll be back is, or is that still kind of up in the air?
We're working on it. Never easy to get people back from international play. But there's a plan to have her in Washington. Will she be through protocols in time to play in that game? It's yet to be determined, but she will join up with the team, worst case scenario, in Washington.
Okay, thanks, Kurt. Appreciate your time.
Thank you, Jacqueline.
Any other questions for Kurt? Okay.
I do
That's all
have
for you.
before you cut me off, Annette, I would like to say something again. We've talked about the recent announcement of a current and NFL player coming out, and again, in my belief, what that does for the LGBTQ plus community, and most importantly, what I'm passionate about and where I believe I would really like my back nine in my career and legacy to be is representation and visibility to middle school to high school gay young men who are in sports but are struggling in that locker room, struggling with those role models that they can succeed and thrive and prosper in team sports is such a big story. And again, as Pride Month is coming to an end, just recently, another story about a men's basketball coach at the University of Wisconsin, coming out. And again, all that visibility in the sport of basketball is so important because I've talked to so many young gay men in the profession of basketball, both men's and women's basketball, who have unfortunately dropped out because there hasn't been those role models that they believe advancement is possible, or that it will be, truly accepted by, people in the sport of basketball. And so the recent announcement in the NFL, the recent announcement in major D1 men's basketball, that I'm not the only person in basketball is really, really important. And I know there's assistant coaches out there on the women's side and the men's side, but for 20 years, it is thought to be the only gay male out head coach in major basketball, pro basketball, men's and women's, Division I, men's and women's, and it has to change. Because trust me, there are more and more coaches like me out there. But representation, visibility of these recent announcements are huge. And as Pride Month comes to an end, you can't, I've got passionately want to talk about it. Don't get asked about it enough. And just wanted to share with a few of you that are on.
Thanks, Kurt.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. All right, we'll go ahead and get started. please raise your hand and I'll call on you. Pepper, you can go ahead and kick things off.
Hi, Brianna, it's great to see you. So during your career with your sister, how have you made each other better as players and as people?
Hey Pepper, it's good seeing you. We've always pushed each other. I think even growing up, like we're always playing in the backyard together. Whenever we're playing on the same team and we're guarding each other, we're always just pushing to make each other better. She's gotten the best of me sometimes, I've gotten the best of her. So I think just that being able to play against each other and continuously to just know it's all out of love and we're just all trying to make each other better. I think that's allowed us to grow and be successful.
Thank you so much.
Welcome.
Alexa?
Hey Bree, what's just been the focus getting ready for Chicago? Obviously, you guys are well familiar with them, having played them twice last week. And is that, I guess, helpful, or is it, you guys are so familiar with each other? How does that just affect the dynamic of the game going to a third game against them in third game in 4 games? I think Kurt said. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, it's good that we just played them, so it's a quick turnaround. We still have the scout in our head. I think we just have to do better at the little things, taking care of the ball, fighting for all the loose balls and everything, and just sticking to our game plan and I think just executing everything. I think the quick turnaround is definitely going to help us just stay ready, and we're already prepared and we know what we're going into.
And obviously, a big part of the Sky success so far, in the last few weeks of the season, has been Candace Parker returning healthy. How has she, I guess, helped them in the games that you've played against the Sky, but also just from what you've seen scouting them, what makes her such an effective player?
I think just her ability to read the floor and find the person, and she can still create for herself. I think that's allowed her to be successful and help them continue to be successful. But I think just going into this game, they have to guard us too, and they have to find ways to stop us. So I think it's gonna be a good game. It's gonna be a tough matchup, and we're both gonna go back and forth. So it's gonna be I'm looking forward to this game, and getting that win back that we could have had one in Chicago.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Jacqueline?
Hey Bree, just personally over the last couple of games, what adjustments did you have to make to, really learn how to capitalize on your game, especially in the low post playing without JJ?
I think just being more aggressive. I think the first couple games, I wasn't looking for my shot as much. I think I might have passed up a few that I could have took. So I think being able to be aggressive, and then once I see double teams coming, being able to pass out and find my teammates. I think that's allowed me to be successful, and my teammates find me when I'm open. I think that's the main thing.
You think was that really the difference of what was working for you and the team over the last 2 games when you had those career highs?
I think that, and just it took us a couple games to figure out how we're going to play without JJ, and I think once we figured that out, it allowed us to flow better, allowed me to be able to get position in the low post. So I think just finding that groove together without JJ, I think that was the biggest part the last 2 games.
And I wanted to ask you about Morgan Tuck, just having her as a teammate those last couple of years, just what was that like, just having her on the team, and then, what is it like having a former teammate back in this front office role, especially a role like Morgan's that's so essential on franchise development and community initiatives and everything?
Oh yeah, no, I love Morgan. She's one of my favorite people. And I was glad when we hired her back here. Just having her back in the program, it's going to be great for us, great for her. And she's a great person. She's a great leader. So I'm excited for her, and I'm just glad to have her back.
Great, thank you.
Thanks.
Any other questions for Breezy? All right, none. Okay, we'll go ahead and open it up some questions for Stephanie Jones. Pepper?
Hi, Steph. Great to talk to you. So I asked Bree this just now, but I wanted to ask you as well. So during your careers together, how have you and your sister made each other better as players and as people?
Yeah, I guess just talking to each other. We know what's best for each other. We know what each other can do. So we just talk to each other through everything, and just tell each other to stay aggressive and just keep believing in yourself.
Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.
Jacqueline?
Hi, Steph. Just what has your focus been in practice this week? And I'm curious if, the coaches and the coaching staff have had any conversations with the bench on, what you guys can do to kind of step up and improve this third game against Chicago.
Yeah, I think the main focus, like for me as a player, is to get better every day. Like improve 1% each day at least. So, so that's the main thing, just improving on something each day, whether it's like rebounding, like I could get all the rebounds today, getting stops, making plays for other people, doing stuff like that.
Cool. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Alexa?
Hey, Steph. And just in terms of the teams as a whole prep for Chicago, what are some of the things that have been the focus of the scouting report? I know you guys are well familiar with them, having played them twice last week, but what are the things that kind of the counters in the chess game, more or less, that you guys are focusing on?
Yeah, definitely the fact that they're a great team in transition, and we've really focused on that. And yeah, just really focusing on our defense. So yeah, because it leads to our offense.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right, you're all set.